UFC Fight Night, Vettori and Dolidze. It wasn't the rematch we wanted. It's the rematch we needed. I don't know if I could have gone the rest of my professionally handicapping career without breaking down another Vettori and Dolidze main event, Jim. Oh, man. Just listen.
Wake me up in the next pay-per-view.
It's just, oh, it's rough. The good news is we got a ton of fights on here. Very strange lines. There's landmines all over the place, but we're here to break it down for you. So, first off, hit the like button. Come on, hit the like button. Leave a comment. Tell us who you like below, and let's get into it. But first, just a quick recap. Nice week for us for official client plays.
Yes, we're going to start off with the good, which is our 5% play of Carlos Leal and John Rahm and Live Golf. I mean, no sweat. No sweat. Morono finally got his after we've been chasing him for a while, so it was nice to catch that ticket. Really nice cash on Josh Van and Ruffy. I mean, doesn't get much more of a no sweat than that. The bummer of the weekend was that the violence parlay was dead in the water. We lost both legs of it. So, hey, you know what? It happens. You have those fights that go wacky. Not a big deal. Great live bets on the live show as well. We hit Justin Gaethje at plus 150. We hit Ankalaev at minus 160 late. So we had some really great live plays as well in the live stream. Just proves that live stream is value, but we keep cashing the tickets. And like I said, death by 1,000 paper cuts, right?
Yeah.
Wealth by 1,000 paper cuts.
Wealth by 1,000 paper cuts. I love it. First fight of the night. The person that probably was not the MVP of Contender Series, but has the most memorable moment of the Contender Series season, Yuneisy Duben fighting Carli Judice, who Carli is one of our favorites from Contender Series. Deceiving here, 2 losses, but I go back to this Contender Series. Both these women put on memorable performances in completely different ways. Let's start with Carli Judice and what we know about her.
Well, Carli went to war on Contender Series, and we were praying that they were going to double contract that thing. We really were. We see a lot of good things in Carli here, and she goes the distance with Gabriela Fernandez, which that fight has aged well, right? That loss has aged quite well. And we got a young fighter with big improvements. She's looked better. She's looked crisper in each fight. I love that we're getting her now because I really want to see what kind of improvements we're going to see from her. I think there's a reason that she's lined so heavy at 3-2. She's got all the makings, man. She's got cardio. She's tough. She's got volume. And with women's MMA, that's really all you need. If you can put volume on, go 3 rounds, you can walk through your opponent's techniques, and you can throw back your own volume. You can win fights in the UFC. She's going against Duben, who I still think is just not UFC level, man. She's fought nobody. Okay, she's training with Rose and Maverick, and the take is that she's got all this training available to her, and she's getting good rounds in with them. So I did some Instagram stalking, and I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see a big body transformation from her. I don't expect her to really come out and look shredded. To me, it's very Instagrammy, if that makes sense to anyone.
Great word.
Yeah, and this fight against Shannon Clark was stiff. She marched forward. I mean, I did nothing. Stood there with her head right on the center line and just looked stiff and slow. And Duben caught her. It's going to happen. But look, I will gladly take the volume and the cardio over the knockout power in a women's fight 9 times out of 10. Every time. So to me, it's Carli. I wouldn't rule out Carli getting a late finish. We have no idea what Duben is going to be like in the 3rd round when she has absorbed 150 significant strikes.
Yeah, there's a chance she does absorb that many. Carli does not stop throwing.
No.
Her Contender Series, they both set records. So it was an amazing fight. Yeah. So I have this theory on Contender Series fighters, especially the ones that are not very polished. Look at who Duben was fighting. 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. Literally on Contender Series was the first person she fought who had ever fought before. And she lands the Hail Mary. And I got to tell you, she lands the Hail Mary punch on somebody that didn't keep her hands up. I just thought even when she jumped in to try and do the ground and pound, it didn't look very fast. It didn't look very good. I think this is just going to go down as a one-shot hitter quitter, which credit to her. She got the contract. But it just feels to me that these inexperienced people that win in Contender Series once you step up to the UFC, everything changes. Like your camp is like, okay, we need to step it up. Now we need to work on this. Now you're going to fight people that are way better. So now we got to work more on your wrestling and your takedowns. And we've seen fighters get in their heads. I mean, even
Yeah.
Carlos Prates in his first round looked awful in his UFC debut. We see it time and time again. I think there really is like an adjustment to the training of getting into UFC because I mean, you go from fighting a bunch of O and O's to knocking out somebody in 1 minute to now you're going to go fight somebody who's already fought in the UFC, went 3 rounds and almost won the fight. I think this is a lot, and I don't think that Duben has levels to her game. I'm with you on the Instagram thing, like whatever. It was a great story. It seriously was. It was an iconic moment on Contender Series. I just don't see it. Carli's a big favorite for a reason. It's like minus 350. So it's a great parlay piece. I'm with you. I think it's Carli all day. So
Quick funny story about her Instagram. She's got a video that's about 2 minutes and 20 seconds long, which is an eternity for an Instagram video, by the way.
yeah.
So you suffer through this, and it's like her day, what she does, like little snippets. So she gets up, shows her stretching in bed, and then it shows her, putting her face cream on. Then it shows her cooking her eggs, and she packs her bag. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And finally, at the end of the video, it shows her hitting pads at the gym.
She was getting ready.
Let's just say the pad work was subpar at best. Okay.
Okay.
So
all right.
if that's what we're doing here, I'm going with Carli.
I like it. Shout out to Jim. There was a comment last week that maybe we don't know what we're doing. I don't know when you say that to a guy that owns a karate gym. That UFC has shot things there and interacts with professional coaches and UFC fighters. I don't know. Like you can say that about me. I don't know what I'm talking about, but
it's okay.
It's okay. All right.
It's okay, man. It's all good.
Let's move on to Josiane Nunes and Priscila Cachoeira. Jim has this. Jim's not a Cachoeira better. Let's just say. So, what's your take on this fight? You're not a Cachoeira fan.
What a setup! Because I got to pick Cachoeira. I'm not saying I'm better than her, but my God, I went back and watched Nunes when we first talked about this fight last Saturday.
You thought I was crazy.
I'm not betting Cachoeira, right? I know that much. And then, my God, I went back and unfortunately had to watch Josiane Nunes fight. And I will go back in time. I wish we could clip our breakdown of Josie from a couple fights ago because she's in the UFC and she's going to get best training. We're going to see improvements. We're hoping. But same thing we just said about Duben, right? These new fighters, how now it's a whole different ballgame. Josie's done nothing different. I think she's gotten worse. I think they've gotten her head and made her a tentative fighter. Like, just be a marauder that you were, because everything that you did to get here, now you're going to change.
Yep.
Like, you may just be what you are, and that's fine. Roll with that. One of the big problems I have with coaching, and this goes back to SBG Ireland and my beef with them, is they could take any fighter and make them the most boring fighter on the roster with no wrestling ability whatsoever. Even if they had it before, all of a sudden they go to SGB Ireland and they don't know how to wrestle. They don't use it in their fights. They took Johnny Walker, to all Johnny Walker's faults, knock out or get knocked out. At least he was exciting. Now he tries to tiptoe through fights and it doesn't go so well. So I think coaching is a real problem on the Nunes side. I haven't seen any improvements, and Cachoeira is what she is. I think it's going to be enough here. I think it's going to be enough. I know Cachoeira struggles with wrestlers. Let me ask you this. Cachoeira ends on top. You see Nunes getting up?
No, I think Nunes has all the physical disadvantages in this one. She's really short just because of, her anatomy, her neck. And I'm with you that she's just been really lackluster. Now, maybe we had her overrated because, you go back and look, and because she knocks out Bea Malecki and then, Ramona Pasquale and Zara Farron, it's not exactly a murderer's row. But this loss against Cavalcanti, I was like, you have to steamroll your way through that one if you're going to be the best striker. and she didn't. She fumbled her way through, and Cachoeira, as you said, loses the ground game. Jasmine
Mhm.
Jasudavicius, Miranda Maverick, Jillian Robertson. Look who she's beating. She's knocking out, Lipsky De Silva. She beats Kim, knocks out Zani, like knocks out Shanna Dobson. Like, and Nunes ain't taking her down. So this is just going to end up being in Cachoeira's world. I think this is Cachoeira on the feet. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a knockout. And like you said,
I
is this
agree.
is this a world where Cachoeira may have a ground advantage?
I think she
I
does.
think she might, as crazy as that sounds.
She's got an experience advantage. She spent more time on the ground losing,
But she's
okay, than Nunes
been
has
there.
spent on the ground winning.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think she's got the advantages, man. She's not getting knocked out unless it's just a accumulation of strikes. I like Cachoeira. Both
Yeah.
these women, their careers are on the line here. Cachoeira's got to come out with a win.
Yeah.
The fact that this is at bantamweight too at 135, I don't see there being a problem with Cachoeira in the weight cut. She's always tried to cut down a little bit lower.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to look really big in the cage against Nunes.
All right. Believe it or not, over 2.5 is only minus 188. I'm really, really surprised by that one. Figured the books would have this juiced beyond belief. Minus 175 over 2.5 in the Duben Judice fight, which is another surprise.
Yeah.
We move on to Andre Lima and Daniel Barez. Who you got in this one?
I like Andre Lima. Andre Lima seems like the newest guy that people are going to find faults in and reasons to not bet. And he's just going to keep winning. Like, don't get me wrong. He's 10-0. He's bound to lose soon. Is it this one? I don't know if it is against Barez because I don't think Barez can fight hard for 15 minutes. And we know that Lima can put together a comprehensive game plan for 15 minutes. So when we're dissecting a fighter, you have to ask yourself what you're going to get. That's always the question. The most infuriating thing is when you bet a wrestler and you get a striker, or you bet a striker and you get a wrestler, right?
When you bet on Nakamura to wrestle, and you bet on Carl Williams, and they both decide I'm going to show off my chops here from the striking, and they get dog walked.
The best fights to bet are where you know what you're going to get both sides here. What are you going to get from Barez? He's going to walk forward. He's going to throw heavy. Okay. He's going to swing and miss. Not a great wrestler. Not going to push a wrestle heavy game plan. And I don't think he can hold down Lima. And he's going to get tired.
Yeah.
There you go. What are you going to get from Lima? You're going to get a well-rounded attack. If it's not working, he can go to the wrestling. He can go to the clinch. So I just think Lima's got more tools. I know the 10-0, the O's got to go at some point. I just don't think it's Daniel Barez. I really don't. I'm liking Lima more and more as this week goes on. I'll probably have him in some shape or fashion.
Yeah, they're making you pay. They're making you pay big time.
Yeah.
For some of these fighters, minus 395.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have the weird one against Severino where Lima gets bit. I did not like how he looked against Mitch Raposo, just barely winning a split decision. But good fight against Felipe Dos Santos, and I loved watching that ground game in that fight in particular. I was like, okay, this has legs. This has you can extend this this skill set, and I'm with you that to me that's gonna be the difference because I think Bears is pretty good on the feet. He's got decent striking. It's not probably not championship caliber, but it's good enough to keep you on your toes. But yeah, I think Lima's got that in his back pocket where he could steal a couple close rounds. Like if the round's close, he can get a takedown and hold him there, and then all of a sudden, Lima's got 2 rounds in the bag. Pretty obvious. So wouldn't surprise me if this goes the distance. So I'll take a look at Lima by decision. Another contender series, alum Josias Musasa versus the veteran Carlos Vera. How do you see this fight going down?
Oh, it's a tough one for me. I'll tell you this. I'm not betting Musasa's money line. It's just insanity on an 8-0 fighter. And I am not a fan of Carlos Vera as well. So it's kind of kept me off as far as a bet on either side. With Vera, you got a stud grappler. Very, very tricky on the ground. But here's the problem, man. He rolls for heel hooks. He rolls for knee bars. And when you have both your hands on an ankle, what are you wide open to? Getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
And he's going to go against Musasa, who is long, has those long arms, and that athleticism, and I think this could go poorly for Vera. I still can't bet the number on the 8-0 Musasa because Vera could pull one of these submissions out of nowhere. To me, this is a live bet spot. And if the heel hook doesn't work once or twice, maybe even once, it's like we talk about the first lazy spinning back fist you see, bet the other guy because it's an act of desperation. If I'm Musa, I am not touching the ground. The floor is lava in this fight. If it looks like Vera can't get this to the ground, you're live betting him. If you can't, somehow. The line's probably going to take off from there. I think this fight sneakily doesn't go the distance. That's where I landed on it. It's either going to be Vera gets this sub out of nowhere, or he's going to blow his gas tank going for all this stuff and then be wide open to getting KO'd if this thing stays on the feet. So I like this fight not to go the distance more than anything, not picking a side.
All right, so pull up our notes from Musasa when he was on Contender Series here. And supreme athlete, raw talent, needs polishing, showed impressive cardio, stays active, has KO power, not great striking defense, surprisingly good takedown defense and get-up game. Good forward pressure, controlled the middle of the ring, fearless. Yeah, I think it smells big-time problems for Carlos Vera. Again, but I'm with you. I can't bet these Contender Series debutantes. It's really, really tough. They need to be like blow me out of the water that you're going to be calm, collected. You're going to stick to the game plan and not end up in a heel hook. Because Carlos Vera will do that to you. Like a young, inexperienced guy. Yeah, all of a sudden, Vera's got a hold of your ankle and oopsie. I think this is a sneaky, tough matchup for Musasa. I don't think. I mean, maybe he does just overpower and over athletic, uses athleticism to overwhelm Vera, but just not putting too much past these veterans when they fight a young fighter. There's levels to this game. Is Carlo Vera that guy? I don't know, but there's been plenty of surprises this year, with older guys against the younger guys. Nurgozhay against Brendon Ribeiro. Here's another guy from Contender Series. They are not messing around. How do you think this fight goes down?
We were worried about DR.
Absolutely, we were.
and I'm still not thoroughly impressed. However, God, you can take Ribeiro down with a strong gust of wind, can't you? He's never met a takedown that he hasn't accepted. Never stuffed a takedown.
Yeah, I know. He has a very straight. Has a very odd career path.
And I'm sorry, Kyle Machado is horrible.
That was bad.
Okay. He's bad, and he goes to a split. You are what you are, and if you're going to splits with Kyle Machado, you are what you are, man.
Well, he also lost to the Magomed that can't wrestle.
He got out wrestled by the Magomed who can't wrestle,
and the Magomed got cut.
Yeah,
that's how bad of a win it was for Magomed. He got cut.
Ribeiro has just that fight was atrocious to me because he had Magomed's legs so beat up, and he still got taken down, and he still got tired. So I think DR is going to have plenty of tools here to beat Ribeiro. The big question is, can he keep the cardio up long enough to finish him? Or are we going to end up with two dead tired fighters 2 minutes into round two? I think he can. I think DR is going to finish Ribeiro. He's got great kicks, powerful kicks, and Ribeiro's got those skinny legs and that skinny body, and I just don't think he's going to be up to the task here. So give me DR. I think there's a finish in this fight. I'd like this one not to go. I just worry about the cardio falling off the cliff for both guys. That's why I haven't bet it yet.
Our notes from Contender Series for him were low volume, strong strikes, doesn't absorb damage well. Not your typical Kazakhstan because it doesn't wrestle. Cardio, big question mark. Not that impressive. I sneakily like this to go the distance, and it's because of the cardio. I think after the first round, I think both guys could be, we don't have enough power to get the other one out there. I mean, Brendon Ribeiro, look at this. Finish. In his last two, go to something has changed.
Yeah.
Probably on both sides, but are we looking at a Jordan Wright situation where Sick could get knocked out.
Good
We're going the
comparison.
distance. We're going the distance. So I think sneakily this fight to go the distance. Let me see what the line is on this one. Only 1.5 is -154. If it gets over 1.5, it's going the distance.
I don't hate
think
that play.
Yeah, so I think you're going to get. I wouldn't mess with the over 1.5. I would take the over 2.5 or go the distance because that's probably going to be a pretty good number on that one. I lean DR, yeah, but again, I'm not going to bet on this. When we're not that impressed with you on Contender Series, it's very hard to bet on you in your UFC debut. It's just kind of that way right now. Sam Page, our girl, Sam Hughes versus Stephanie Luciano. You ain't getting plus money on this fight to go the distance, I'll tell you that. Who do you think wins this one?
I'm going to go with Sam Hughes. Out the gate. Not live. Not better after round 2, even though I'll talk about that. But remember when we faded who was the champion that fought Morono? It's been a long day. I'm drawing a blank.
The what?
Fig.
Oh, okay.
Fig and Morono, right?
Moreno?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they finally stopped fighting each other.
Yes.
We're like, oh, we're fading Fig.
Yeah.
Because for 3 years, he fought the same guy.
Okay.
Stephanie has fought the same girl for 2 years. Okay.
I love this.
We have to go back to 2022 when she fought somebody else
in Jungle Fight.
Jungle Fight, a 5-0 Jungle Fight fighter. What has Karina done since then? Out of curiosity. She's 5-3. Okay.
She lost her next couple. Okay.
So she's lost twice.
Ruh-roh.
Look, Alan Carr, as good of a grappler as she is, she's absolutely no striking to be heard of. None. Zero.
Correct.
None. She is the equivalent of Mackenzie Dern when she first popped into the UFC. No striking. None. Zero. Nada. And I really don't know if she has that fight, Alan Carr. That MMA fight. She maybe, has it in jiu-jitsu, but I just think Sam is going to make this fight dirty. She's going to make this fight ugly because that's what Sam Hughes does. And I really have questions with Stephanie. We don't know a lot about her, and people are talking about her like they do. Guys, this is women's MMA. You can look at it real quick. 6-1 Brazilian against a 9-6 American. Well, look what Sam Hughes has been doing. Look who she's been fighting. She's been in the UFC, fighting girls, having a rip victory from the jaws of defeat in round 2 and round 3. Battle tested? Yeah. Cardio? Yeah. Striking? It's okay. Wrestling? It's okay. But she is the equivalent of anybody who's got that, what, Indy? What do they got in him, Andy?
Got that dog. Sam Hughes got that dog in her.
She's got that dog. And I think this is a spot where Sam can really, really excel in rounds 2 and round 3. I don't see her getting finished or submitted. And I think she's just going to put a pace and pressure on her. So I was going to wait till round 2, and then I kind of thought about it. And, everybody knows this now. It's just like McKinney after 2 minutes. You can't get that live bet on against McKinney after 2 minutes. You're not going to get the end of round 1 with Hughes. Money's going to come in on her. So I'm fine with the number where it is. I'll bet Sam and I'll roll with it. And if she gets worked the first 2 rounds, I'm going to be able to hedge my bet in round 2 and round 3 and get out of the bet. So that's where I'm going to land on. I'm going with Sam Hughes by decision.
I'm with you. Luciano's striking does not scare anybody. I think Sam is she'll eat some shots, but she'll be able to walk through them. And I think this is a good veteran performance from Sam. So Waldo, Cortes, Acosta, and Ryan Spann. How are you playing this one, Jim?
Heavyweight Ryan Spann. Let's keep in mind.
Heavyweight Ryan Spann.
So how is Ryan Spann going to be at heavyweight? Is he just not going to cut weight, or is he going to pack on some poundage? And we're going to see a nice soft Ryan Spann at weigh-ins. That's what I want to see.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. Ryan Spann is not getting my money, okay? And he should not get your money as well. I'm not a big fan of Waldo either in this, but there's one thing that you can guarantee. If Ryan Spann's not fighting Anthony Smith, he's going to make a mistake.
Sure, of course.
I know Waldo's gone the distance, but Spann is either going to show up and show out, or he is going to absolutely fall apart.
Yeah.
So the parlay piece with this fight doesn't go the distance for me. I know the worry on the Waldo side, but this is at heavyweight now. So I don't know if Spann is going to be able to take it to the distance against Waldo. I know Waldo can be low volume. Gimme Fight doesn't go the distance as a parlay piece. Neither of these guys are getting my money on the money line.
I like Waldo in this one. So, just because I can't trust anything about Spann. Who he beat OSP? OSP tried to retire at his in the fight previous. How excited do you think he was to be in that fight? So yeah, I mean, he does what he's supposed to do against Spain and Arlovsky. Are they boring? Yeah, pretty bad. So this one's going to be striking. But I don't trust Ryan Spann once it gets out of the first round, not in the slightest. And I think Waldo is fine to get this out of the first round. So, he lost to Lima. Lima's got better leg kicks. I think he's got better clinch work. And I don't know, what is Ryan Spann these days? I couldn't tell you. He's such an enigma here. Like, you look at him and, okay, finishes Kudalaba and Reyes, and we're like, oh, man, Ryan Spann, next big thing. And then gets choked out against Krylov, loses the split against Anthony Smith, and gets knocked out.
The Bogdan fight is the one they have a real problem.
They're terrible. Yeah. He fooled us. He's like, I'm training now.
Yeah.
Okay. On fighting? Because it sure hasn't looked like it. To me, it's Waldo at minus 180. I'm with you. This fight doesn't go the distance. It's Spann early, or it's Waldo a little bit after Spann gets tired. So that'd be the only way I would look at this one. Su Young Yu and AJ Cunningham. At first, I was like, we get to bet against AJ Cunningham. But now we got Road to UFC guy. What's your take on this fight?
Hate to be a broken record. Fight doesn't go the distance. Okay? Start with that. It's an Safe. AJ Cunningham fight.
Safe.
AJ Cunningham cutting down to bantamweight is a giant enigma in this fight. We have no clue if he's going to make weight. We have no clue if the fight's going to be on after he makes weight. He's going to have to pass this post-weigh-in medicals, all right? Rehydration policy, all that good stuff. This is a red flag fight, up, down, left, and right. And it's like, I know it's AJ. We have to have a bet against AJ Cunningham, right? But we have no clue what we're getting here. We got a Road to UFC guy against AJ Cunningham down 2 weight classes. What could go wrong?
Fair.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
I do think that Yu wins. Anytime, again, you've heard me say this before, every breakdown of this fight, what do they say? AJ Cunningham is tough as hell. Well, that's all AJ is tough as hell. So if you think that him being tough is enough to win a UFC fight against the caliber of his opponent, go ahead, bet him. It's not enough for me. It's just not enough. I got to see some kind of skills coming back the other way. And with Young Yu, he's going to wrestle. He's going to go across and get that takedown. A feet, he could be in trouble, but I don't rate the striking of AJ very high. So I think Yu wins. I still like this fight not to go the distance. I think one of these guys looks just minus 300 in this fight. It could be an absolute landslide, one or the other here. I don't think we see a competitive decision.
I think the under is probably the only way. I mean, Yu is minus 625 at this point.
Silly.
Yeah, it really is silly. But at the same time, I'm just not betting my money on Cunningham. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I would really like to bet on this Road to UFC guy who has gone to decision against other Road to UFC guys. And AJ Cunningham, how can I put this politely? In more than one way, AJ Cunningham is not like a lot of Road to UFC guys. Fighting style being one of them. So I think this is a clash of styles, and I'm with you. Someone goes to sleep. Because the other thing, AJ Cunningham has basically no cardio.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched him in some fights. Like I've watched him in this one. He was exhausted. He was getting absolutely beat up against Ludovic Klein before he got tired. He got tired against Stephen Nguyen. Who I still think was completely overrated in that one. So, maybe Cunningham senses real quick, and he's like, "Oh, this guy's got nothing for me on the feet." Maybe Bryce Mitchell's been working with him on his wrestling and takedown defense, and you can't get it. We saw Josh Van stuff every single takedown last week, and his opponent was way better. Yeah, and his opponent was way better with takedowns than you is. So. Fight not go the distance. I think you're correct. That's the only way you can play this one. Duben Blackshear and Cody Gibson. You're familiar with Cody Gibson. You've followed him for a while. How do you see this fight going down?
Well, Cody's been around for a while.
Yeah, yes, he has.
Again, one of our favorite angles of this year is to fade the old fighter. Here's the thing with Cody, and we'll get to this as well later on, is these guys are here because of the Ultimate Fighter where they had to do something to spice the season up. So it was the veterans against the rookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a win against a retiring Brian Kelleher, a loss against Miles Johns, a loss against Brad Katona, a win against Chad Enhelger. Chad looked horrible in that fight.
Chad was,
horrible.
God awful. He
God
was
awful.
really, really bad.
That was probably his worst performance that I can remember. Was that he was bad news, man.
Yeah.
It just seems like Cody's punching power's gone. His chin is gone. When he gets hit, it's not so much that he gets knocked out, but he instantly looks to wrestle. Instantly. I don't think the firefight is in Cody Gibson anymore. And I never thought that his wrestling was that great anyway. He never really made his hay as being a wrestler. Huge advantage with Duben Blackshear. Last week I said I was worried about Blackshear. I'm all worried. I went back and looked at this, man. I'm not worried about Blackshear. I think Blackshear rolls in this spot. I really do. Liked him more and more. Looking at the finishes, you're like, oh, well, he got knocked out. It's like, yeah, but who'd he get knocked out by here?
Yeah, Montel Jackson just smoked him.
It happens.
He wasn't even paying attention. I mean, it was just dumb. He showed weakness for the first 20 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that it was like, oh, no. It went the distance with Mario Batista. Didn't get knocked out there. So I think the chin's going to hold up. And when it comes to the grappling, I think Blackshear's got a massive advantage on the ground as far as submission grappling goes. Cardio should be good enough. Cody's old man cardio doesn't really hold up in round 3. It's more survival than anything else. So I'm liking Blackshear more and more in this spot. It would not shock me to see Cody gas out round 2, round 3, and give up his neck and see Blackshear lock up a sub.
See, that's where I was going with it. When I looked at him, Gibson's ground game is, I don't know, like this just triangle choke against Kelleher's
means nothing.
It means, yeah, it really doesn't. And then you go and he's finishing guys on, the Ultimate Fighter and stuff, and Blackshear's legit on the ground. Cody's got these submission finishes, but I'm with you that I don't think this is going to be hard for Blackshear to get top position. I don't think Cody gets out of it once. If he does, he probably is not getting out of it. I actually think Cody can make this a pretty fun fight on the feet for the first round, but yeah, I think it starts to fall off. We can't stress enough how bad Enhellinger looked in that fight. So he's coming off of 2 wins and he's getting a massive step up in competition. Yeah. And the fact is, look what's happened when he's fought steps up. Miles John and Brad Katona beat him. Yeah. So you get guys that are on the verge of being blasted out of the UFC. Yeah, he's fine, but against Blackshear, no, I just don't see it. When I'm trying to look at these odds here, though, this is another one that they're making you pay for, minus 485. So the books this week are like, no, you're going to have to parlay, or you're going to have to do a method of victory if you want to bet on Blackshear over Cody Gibson, and that is what is making these fights really, really hard to handicap. Is you're like, oh yeah, I like Blackshear, and you're like, minus 500. Okay, so that's where these landmines are. So there's not a lot of official client plays for us this week, but it's really because the books are just like, we're not giving you any gifts this week. So,
and we're not taking the bait on some of these underdogs either. So.
No, absolutely not. All right, man, some of these names on this card are tough. Alexander Hernandez versus Holobaugh. Here's another Ultimate Fighter. What do we do with this one?
Well, this fight, I'm going to give you guys an example that when you do your tape study and you do your research, you got to stay active throughout the week. So I didn't know this. I heard an interview today with Holobaugh. They're going to New Orleans. Okay. UFC's going to New Orleans on the Poirier card. They're going to let him retire in his hometown. Kurt wants on that card. He called the UFC up, said, I have to fight in New Orleans. You have to give me the fight in New Orleans. You have to give me. However, I need to fight one time before then.
Okay. All right.
So I get it. Give me a fight before New Orleans, and I want on that card. So Kurt's got a lot at stake here, man. If he gets a major injury in this fight, he's out of New Orleans. I'm not gonna be able to get him on that card. I think this is a opponent that they offered him, and this is a strategic yes. I don't think this is give me anybody before New
Okay.
Orleans, right?
Okay.
Is Alexander Hernandez going to really bring the damage to Kurt Holobaugh? Or is he going to fight good for one round and then try to win a decision, which is really the Alexander Hernandez that we've seen from this point? Here's the big problem I have with Hernandez. I don't see him beat the big one.
Okay.
There's lots of little ones.
I was going to say, I find this hard to narrow down.
I don't think he can wrestle for 15, man. So
wow. Well, we know he can't wrestle.
Exactly.
He can't fight for 15
Say
minutes.
He takes Kurt down and he does good work and does damage in the first. He's got to be in a cage for 10 more minutes against a guy that we know is tough as nails. And we know is going to bring the fight towards him. And if he can't get the takedowns, Kurt's going to piece him up on the feet. Badly. Once Kurt doesn't have to worry about the takedown, he's a totally different striker. I went back and I watched Kurt's fights, and man, when he can dominate the wrestling, his hands, his striking comes alive. When he has to worry about the takedown, he looks horrible.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm seeing this as a round one Hernandez and Kurt 2 and 3 with a possible late finish when Hernandez has had enough.
Oh, see, I was like, man, what's he going to say about Hernandez? Is it the bad fight IQ in the insane decisions within the moment? Is the bad striking defense, which has cost him fights against Damon Jackson and
I think
Phil
the Cardio's
Algio?
the worst, bro. Like it's
okay. All right,
he's a
I'll go
different
with you.
fighter from round 1 to round 2, whether he's winning the fight or losing the fight. He is a round 1 dominant fighter, and then he falls off a cliff in 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And he holds on to survive. Let's not forget that he dominated Jim Miller for 10 minutes, and Jim whooped his ass in the second round after getting poked in the eye and not being able to see for 10 minutes.
Yes.
Dominated him in round 3. 40-year-old Jim Miller.
It's because of those things with Hernandez. I just cannot bet on him.
Exactly.
I mean, look, he loses 2, wins 1, loses 2, wins 1. I'll take Kurt Holobaugh at plus money. There's got to be some underdogs that are going to win. And I went back and watched the Trey Ogden fight. Wasn't his a terrible performance, but just look at the same opponent. Alexander Hernandez barely beats Austin Hubbard. Kurt gets him out of there. Kurt comes back, has a nice decision win against Krzyzewski. Like, I just think Holobaugh's got the bigger upside, and I just don't see the big mistakes. I mean, Hernandez can put himself in some really bad positions with whether it's being sloppy or whether it's being tired. It's just I just there's no chance I'm betting on Alexander Hernandez at minus 198. And you're right, maybe it's a better live bet because if Hernandez does get the wrestling going, maybe he banks the first round. But what if Holobaugh wins the first round? Now Hernandez is done. You got to win 2 rounds or get the finish. I just don't think it's happening. So
yeah, I don't hate taking the plus money before the fight on Kurt. Like,
yeah,
that's fine. You don't have to chase a bigger number. It's just
you
know what you're going to get from both of these guys.
Yeah. All right. Last 3 fights before we get to Kevin Vallejos and Sungwoon Choi, who I kind of feel like betting wise is one of the more polarizing picks on that one. I want to tell everyone we have a new special this week. It's by 365 days. You get this knocked down to a cost of only $99 per month. A normal 30-day pass is $299. You're getting $200 off every 30 days. We don't run these specials too long. We don't run very often, but these are for people that are looking to invest long-term and take their bankroll to the next level. These are not casual bets. So if you're just, I want to sprinkle a little money and I don't care if I lose it, or I love doing the big time parlays, knock yourself out. That is not what you're going to get from us. You're going to get a detailed strategic approach. There's going to be a lot of bets on some sports that you're not familiar with and you don't watch, and you don't have to watch them. We will watch them for you. If you think of your bankroll as a business, this is for you. We understand it is a very big investment. If you have any questions, just leave a comment. I'll be happy to reach out to you. You also are going to get access to our Discord, but the Discord is free to anybody. So if you want to join the Discord, I'll put it in the comment section. It's the Winning in the Shadows Discord channel. Again, if you have any questions about long-term investment, myself and Jim are on there. We're free to talk to. So we're going to run this probably through Friday. But take advantage of it. Like I said, we do not run this very often, and we always like to be honest and open about our bets. So last 7 days, we're up plus 8-2. 2025, 215 wins, 145 losses for plus 54 units at an 8% ROA. My God, if we continue that pace for the rest of the year, that all access is an absolute steal. That'll be the best investment you ever make. In full disclosure, we have 93 units in 2023, 127 units in 2024. So we have more than enough long-term success and short-term success. So invite everyone to join. Again, if you're serious about your bankroll, if you want passive income, if you want your bankroll to build up just as an investment portfolio, or you got something big to buy, by all means, do that. I started a few years ago with $4,000. Last spring, I was able to put a down payment down on an investment of property. Got all that money back once we got the mortgage taken care of. So you literally can turn $4,000 into an investment property down payment. So take advantage of that. That's wt.buzz/wagertalk.com. All right, Jim, our boy, Kevin Vallejos against Sungwoo Choi. Vallejos, we were very high on coming off a Contender Series. I was actually out of town. I didn't get to see him live. And you were like, you have got to watch Kevin Vallejos. Man, couldn't they have given him a better matchup?
It's just like right there.
Yeah.
You had to do it. Okay.
Let's talk Kevin Vallejos first, because this is a Contender Series guy. This is one of the higher ranked performances. I will just start off and say his one loss in his entire career is to Gene Silva. I am not sure there is a one-loss guy whose loss is aged better than this one. So what's your take on Vallejos?
Not only that, he went the distance with Gene Silva.
Which is proving to be a nightmare.
Quite difficult, right?
It's a great point. Really good point.
So Andy was out of town, and we watched Contender, and I said to him, like, Vallejos, I was on him. He gets the job done, and we were talking. I'm like, you got to check this guy out. He's the one guy we don't have a write up on because Andy was out of town. But I'll give you my thoughts on him. Very tough. Love the striking. Okay. He can wrestle. Makes fights dirty. Good in and out movement. Keeps his chin tucked. Doesn't throw with his hands down. Really very good technical young fighter, and at only 23 years old. Has a good physical build for this division. Not too small, not too big. Weight cut doesn't affect him too much. Really a jack of all trades. It looked to me like he was a very complete fighter. What I liked about him was the maturity at 23 years old. The way he handled the loss to Silva, coming back to Contender, fought his way back, okay, was calm, cool, collected. The body shots that he landed on Cam Teague were vicious, mixes it up to the head and the body. Really love everything that I see from this kid. I think he's going to be a real problem in the future in the UFC. I believe he's legit. Well, everybody knows where Jim's betting. Well, guess what? I am not betting Vallejos this week. There is something about these moments on the main card where it just scares the pants off of me. I have to know. And maybe it's because Cody Steele bit me a week or two ago. Okay. Maybe it's because Santos bit me.
Jordan.
Yeah. Last week. Like, I don't know. But I'm not willing to put my money on it to find out. I will very gladly wait and not bet this fight because I think I'm going to have plenty of times to bet on Kevin going forward. The thing with Choi is if Vallejos cannot get to his chin, I think he's in trouble. The height, the reach, the distance, the class of the striking, that's Choi's advantage. His disadvantage is his chin and his striking defense. So to me, it's 100% live bet situation. Should Vallejos win? According to the line, yes. But this is undoubtedly his toughest test. And there's no shame in getting knocked out by Steve Garcia. Like,
no, Steve Garcia does it.
It happens, right?
He does it to everybody.
Yeah, Jarno Aaron's actually looked pretty good in their fight. I just worry about this fight. Something on the back of my neck is just telling me don't bet this fight this week. I'm picking Vallejos. I'm not betting it. I will gladly live bet this if I see an opportunity, but I'm nothing pre-fight.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. It's the height and the reach.
It
Vallejos is
worries
going
me.
to have to work really hard to get inside to Sungwoo Choi. And Choi, here's the thing. Choi got on top of Jarno Aarons and held him there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that could be a real problem for Vallejos. Vallejos has been used to, dominating guys. He really has. Knockout in round 1, knockout in round 2, submission when he goes to, went to decision against Silva, lost, like punches, ground and pound. But I don't know. I'm with you too. I'm with you too that this is just one of those terrifying, like,
Mhm.
yeah, I do like Vallejos, and yeah, he looked good on Contender Series, but why are we all so terrified against a guy that's lost like 3 out of 4?
I know.
That
I know something about it.
And I guess I just when I feel that way, I kind of try and trust my gut there a little
Mhm.
bit. So he didn't come off of Contender Series, but Myron Santos, he comes off the Ultimate Fighter, knocks out Awfully, who's terrible, and then probably should have lost.
Oh, he flat out said he should have lost. He came out
Yeah.
and said, he goes, I watched it back. I didn't win that fight.
So, like, there is something to be said about like these Contender Series Ultimate Fighter guys, like coming out and if you're a Francis Marshall better, did you want him to say that, or did you want him to just be quiet?
Good question. I think it's salt in the wound a little
And
bit.
say, "Shut up."
Salt in the wound.
I watched it. Let me think I was robbed. Don't confirm it.
Yeah. That's a great point.
So,
Look, do what you will with this fight. I will say I like Kevin going forward, and if you guys, if everybody bets him and he wins by finish, do you agree that if he wins by finish? Because Choi's striking defense is just atrocious. Because it is.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Well,
probably.
like if you bet him, go for it. But I will make my money on Kevin in the future, not this weekend.
Okay. All right. Zaleski and Chitty, I have no great confidence in who's going to win this fight. I just think this.
Let's applaud the UFC for our co-main event.
Yeah,
right
what a
now.
weird one.
This is beautiful.
I'll make this quick. I think this goes the distance. Chitty has figured out that getting punched really hard in the face is not really for him. So he's like, so I'm just going to clinch and hold guys up against the fence, and the crowd's going to boo, and I'm going to get separated by the ref, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing. And guess what? He's won 2 fights, and I get Zaleski, who is 38 years old. He knocked out Zach Scrogan, who should not have fought at UFC, but before that, decision, Randy Brown. Majority draw, Fakhretdinov. Split. Decision. This screams go the distance. I don't care who wins. What's your take?
You nailed it. Nailed it. We talked about this one over the weekend. Had a totally different view on it. I went back and crunched the numbers, watched the fights. I'm with you 100% here. First of all, if you're Chitty, why are you changing anything? You won 2 fights in a row.
You're not in Dana's good graces, but guess what?
Who gives a crap? You're winning.
You're not absorbing CTE, and you're on the win sheet, and you're fighting in the co-main.
Yes.
What's the downside? Why would he change this?
Perspective-wise, from his view, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm in a co-main event. They're giving me is Zaleski 40? 38? Right? 38. They're giving me a 38-year-old in a co-main event. It's a spot I should win. They're giving it to me. Whether he can pull it off, I don't know, but he's not changing anything.
Yeah.
And against Chitty, the times that we've bet Chitty is when he's gotten tired. We live bet against Chitty. When you see that gas tank, just go.
The one against Oleg Kasachek,
one of my favorites.
We couldn't even get the live bet in because he was like, oh, Chitty's dead. Mm-hmm. Live bet, knocked out.
Yep.
Like you couldn't
snuck it right in.
Yeah.
What was it? A minute 30, 2 minutes in the first. Chitty's done.
Yeah, Chitty's done.
Like, really? Yep. I don't know. He's done. He is shiny. He's breathing out of his mouth. He is done.
Yeah.
And he turned the Rice McKee fight, which should have been an absolute barn burner, into a boring fight. It was one of the worst fights of the year. I can't tell you how excited I was for that fight. And it turned into a horrible fight. Jared Gooden. How can you not finish Jared Gooden?
Because you're not trying to. That's the thing. It's
Exactly.
not. He's like, if I try and finish, then I put myself in position of getting
Exactly.
finished, and that's not what
Mhm.
Chidi does these days.
Yep.
So,
I mean, if Chidi does get tired, Dos Santos could mix in the wrestling here, and that's just going to eat time.
again,
It's
they're
just
not
going to eat the
finishing. You're
clock.
not finishing
Yep.
anyone. It's just a whole time. So, all right, we move on to the main event. Marvin Vettori, Roman Dolidze. Honestly, I, I don't want to spend too much time with this one because I will just say it's over. This fight doesn't go the distance, and all I need to do is go to Vettori. Look at this: decision, 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 decision. Rear naked choke on Carl Robertson in 2020. Decision, 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 decision. I mean, this guy eats up minutes, man. Like he is a judge's best friend because when he fights, judges are like, I know they're coming to me. I know they're going to ask for my opinion.
They're going to say my name at the end of this fight.
Yeah, what's Roman Dolidze's last finishes? A rib injury. Knocks out Phil Hawes and then catches Jack Hermanson in the craziest calf slicer you'll probably ever see. And then he knocked out a Dawkins. But fact is, it's been decision, 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 and the Kevin Holland thing. So they're gonna have to try and conserve energy. Don't care who wins. I hate that I will be watching this fight because I will have it to go the distance, but I don't care who wins. There's no upside in betting this fight on the money line, in my opinion.
Okay. Marvin Vettori has been out for what, 2.5 years? 3 years?
I think it's 2 years.
When was his last fight?
All right, so Marvin Vettori last fought. He had a fight canceled. Yeah, the Brendan Allen fight was canceled. So
he grappled.
Yeah, he did have a grapple, but that was in 2023. So we're looking at almost 2 years, coming up on 2 years.
Cannonier beat the brakes off this guy.
Yeah, he was pretty beat up.
The brakes off of Vettori. How this fight did not get stopped, I will never know. And I didn't even have a bet on it, but it was one of those fights where if you had an over, you were terrified in round one. And somehow it goes the distance.
It's a Marvin Vettori
because
fight.
Vettori he doesn't get finished. He's got a brick for a head. He's a brick. Okay. He's a meathead that walks forward and walks backward. What was telling in the Cannonier fight, Marvin was extremely timid. Extremely timid. And that is not a characteristic of Marvin Vettori. His going backwards thing is a problem against Dolidze. Dolidze's been active. He's fought in multiple weight classes. He's doing everything he can to get a fight.
He's fought short notice.
He's got all the motivation in the world to take this fight, to get a win back and move up the rankings. There's a rumor, and I'm not here to spread rumors, but I got to talk about it because it's been put out there, that Marvin needs to fight. He's using up his contract. He's got a shoulder that's not right. It hasn't been confirmed. We'll wait till it's confirmed, but check your Twitter, check everything, confirm it. It would make sense, guys. I mean, what has this guy done for any income over 2 years?
This is the Colby Covington.
It's exactly it. Exactly.
It feels like Colby all over.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to fight once or twice a year, and you're going to get the same thing out of him. To me, this is the plus money on Dolidze at plus 130. I have no problem betting it. I know it's a 5-round main event, but I can't get the image out of my head of Marvin looking so timid in his last fight. And I think you're going to see a much improved fighter from the first fight in Dolidze. I think he's definitely better than their first fight.
So this is, I have what could be a great funny moment, but the most predictable thing about this fight is not it to go the distance. The most predictable thing about this fight is who Roman Dolidze calls out if he beats Vettori. You can just see it happen. I avenged my loss against Vettori. Now I would like a shot to avenge my loss against Imavov, and somehow they let him fight Imavov when his most recent wins are Anthony Smith or Kevin Holland.
Let's hope they give it to him.
And a washed up Vettori. Yeah, so.
I hope they give him Imavov. That'd be great.
What would be funny is if Dana came out and was like, you know what? You're right. You beat Vettori. You deserve to fight the guy that you lost to. That's why at the net whenever you're ready. Your next big fight is going to be against Trevin Giles. So, so,
Officer Giles back in the UFC, baby.
Yes. So, all right. Boy, this card's rough. Rough one to watch. Now we got to do the unthinkable. Parlay Buster and a woulda, coulda, shoulda. The
Can
good
we
news
pick
is,
the whole
boy, there are a
card?
ton of what. Yeah, can I do 2 Parlay Busters instead of woulda, coulda, shoulda? So, I'll let you go first on the Parlay Buster. There is landmine after landmine after landmine. Who's yours?
I'm sticking to what I said last week. Okay.
What?
Kevin, I'm not betting Kevin at this number. I am
So Sung Woo
terrified
Choi?
of this fight. I think Kevin could blow up everybody's parlays, and he's going to be parlayed
Yeah.
1,000%. I will stick to my guns. That is my parlay buster. I don't want to see it happen, but that fight terrifies me.
Okay. Yeah, I certainly can't. I mean, some of these lines here are so bad. I'll go way out on a limb and I'll take Josias Musasa.
Okay.
I've seen horrific performance after horrific performance from these Contender Series guys, where it turns out they're just not ready. And maybe I look like an idiot when Vera gets knocked out early, but man, I just I don't want to see them rolling around on the ground with Vera's grabbing ankles and knees and necks, and Musasa's sitting here like, you think the Contender Series guy didn't do this? He just stood in front of me, and this is, you know. So I'll go with that as my parlay buster. All right, what's your woulda, coulda, shoulda?
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Who are we just gonna be like? I can't believe we didn't bet more on that one. I'll go first. Mine's Cachoeira.
Okay.
Cachoeira, when she gets on the ground, she looks defeated. When she's the hammer and not the nail, she is a front runner. And sometimes front runners are freaking awesome to bet against because they're constantly. This is like when it was so great betting on the Miami Heat when it was LeBron, Wade, and Bosch, because when they got out to a lead, the other team was just like, forget it. And they just, they hammered them. That's what Cachoeira does when she's the better at something. And I just think she's going to be better on the feet than Nunes. And with Nunes without the threat of the takedown, I think we're going to be sitting there going, wow, we got Cachoeira at plus money. Did you believe that? So Cachoeira is my woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Well, I was going to pick Sam Hughes.
Okay.
But I'm going to bet Sam Hughes. So
okay.
It can't be a woulda, coulda, shoulda if I'm betting it.
If you're already betting it. Okay.
Yeah. Go to the main event.
Okay.
I'm going to take the plus 130 on Roma Dolidze against a guy who hasn't fought in 2 years and has looked progressively worse throughout his UFC career. With rumors of a shoulder injury and being stagnant in the division, 2 years out of a sport is a long time. And the sport passes you by. I'll take the more active fighter with more motivation here in a 5-round situation. And when it's round 3 and Dolidze's gushing blood from his nose, and he's had his back against the fence for 4 rounds, and Roman's just winging overhands.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take the plus 130 on Roman.
I'm jealous of you. I think that's a great one. Main event plus money on Vettori. I don't know. Where do they get off putting Vettori as a favorite?
Because he won the first fight. I don't think they know what the hell to do with the fight.
It's completely different fighters.
I don't get it.
Lots changed. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave us a comment in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join our Discord. It's a great Discord. When you join in there, you're going to see a lot of like-minded people. There are a ton of sports. There's a ton of sports channels. There's a ton of people that put their picks in there. If you want to just lurk, by all means, you don't have to comment. Say hi. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, but it's no nonsense, no trash talk. It's a bunch of people that take their bankroll very, very serious. So be respectful, but it is a great place to get started if you want to follow us on our journey. So it's going to do it for us. Good luck on all your plays, and we will see everyone later.
See you Saturday.